It's really important to sort of try and surround yourself in people that kind of accept you for who you are and that are open-minded and you can have good conversations with about whatever you want without feeling sort of judged. When I was younger, my dad had mental health problems. He was paranoid and he was quite unpredictable. But at the same time, he was like one of the most beautiful people that I've ever spent time with because he was just so genuine and he was so intelligent. But there was this illness which kind of, well, it was really hard to live with. And I was just at primary school that day and I remember getting picked up by my mum's friend, coming back and seeing the police outside and just sort of knowing what had happened. It was really tough. 6 months later, my mum was diagnosed with breast cancer and she was like the strongest woman ever, so she kind of powered through it. And this cancer went away. She was doing chemotherapy and radiotherapy and then 5 years went on and it came back and within about 2 weeks she was gone. I've been to about, I don't know, probably like 7, 8 different counsellors at this point, so like quite a few, and I'm getting counselling at the moment. It's kind of like we're just having a really thoughtful conversation. It's not like, oh, I'm going to counselling, this is going to be so different from any other conversation that I've ever had in my life. No, it's just a conversation. It's like you go and then you talk and it flows and you walk out and you feel so much better and you feel so much less alone and you've got a different perspective on your problems and how you can move forwards. Talking about like your problems it's not really acknowledged as much as it should be, because if you have a problem and no one else knows about it, then you're just going to feel totally alone and like you're the only one. But that's not true. There are loads of people that you can go and speak to and get these things off your chest because it makes you feel so much better. And if you can cry, then cry, because that'll make you feel so much better afterwards. And it's like, it's kind of frowned upon in our society, but like, because there's this idea that you've got to be a man and men don't have emotion, but that's bullshit, I'll tell you that. I think there's much more of an emphasis on counselling for girls, and I think that more girls do go and get counselling, well, at least from what I've seen in the past. And I think it's always sort of, there's this kind of image of a man that I think that doesn't have emotion. It's this massive stereotype and it's really unhealthy if you're trying to follow that. Like, if you believe that you can't shed a tear and you can't have an emotion, you just have to be this strong, hard-working person that doesn't have emotions, that's not sustainable. And you know what, I would be in a completely different position now if my mum hadn't sort of taught me to express myself early on. I'm a skater. I love to go down to the skate park. I'll go down and I'll just see like 10 of my mates and they're always so happy to see me and they would always listen, they would always like have a laugh and we just skate together. And the thing is, when you're skating, and it's like all that really exists is like you and the board, and I think that's such a nice feeling when you've got a lot going on in your life, because it's not like you're pretending that doesn't exist. It's just in that moment that you're trying to land your trick, it doesn't. And it's a really nice break from that sort of burden of all the things going on in your life. And that's something I always found really useful. It was like I would go for a skate and I would step back from life.